everybody. Welcome back to Popping the Popcorn. I'm your host, Katie, and today I have actor, director, producer, um, Austin. How do you Galantine? Is that how you say it? I don't know. I'm bad
Galante.
with last names. I'm bad with last
Galante.
names. Okay, gotcha. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just starting my morning off. And getting the day started. I forgot to make coffee, so I had to grab a monster. That's how my morning's been. It's been a crazy morning, say the least.
feed the feed the monster.
Yeah, feed the monster. Yeah, right. Um. So, uh, so, what got you into like acting and all that kind of stuff?
Oh boy. I don't know. I like film. I thought it looked like fun, I guess. I was a musician or singer in a band, and I produced music. Um, I first, I guess. Always kind of wanted to act, so like doing music videos was kind of a fun way to sort of do that. And then we ended up moving to LA and got to do some out there for about 8 years, and it was kind of fun and interesting, and seeing seeing the big dogs do it, I guess.
Right. No, that's
Going,
awesome. Like I'm sure filming a music video was like a lot of fun. I'm sure like filming those are a lot of fun. They look like they're
yeah,
fun.
yeah, it is. Um, it is quite a bit of fun, actually. Uh, some more than others, but
Right, I'm sure. I'm actually if you actually so I was in It's 5 o'clock somewhere by Alan Jackson. I'm in that music video. He did it in Jupiter, Florida. He made the video there and I'm like one of the background people.
oh, really?
Yeah. Like if it, like I'm like one of the background people, but like you can't see me. I was younger, but you can't like see me. But it's
Uh,
kind of cool. It was kind of cool to go there and hang out and stuff.
really?
Yeah.
We I don't know how close you are. We played it. Oh, it would have been like 10 or 12 years ago now, something like that. But we played a few shows down in Florida. One was in Pensacola. That place was really cool. I liked it. I don't know if you've
Um. So
been
Pensacola is
there.
about 4 to 5 hours from me
Okay,
because
cool.
I'm on
Yeah.
the Treasure Coast. What they call is the Treasure Coast of Florida. So where I'm from is where the ship. It's actually a really interesting story. Back in the 1800s or somewhere around there, there's this ship and it had like treasure on it. So that's how it became the Treasure Coast because there's still like treasure down at the bottom of the ocean.
Huh. How deep down?
Really deep
How,
down, but it's
oh,
interesting.
really?
Yeah, it's really
Interesting.
interesting. And
So I would
they've what was that?
I was gonna say so I would imagine there's been a lot of like people who hunt for treasure scouring the area.
There is
Yeah.
the whole coast of Florida, like all the way up to like Tallahassee, like the whole coast, all the way down to the
Really?
Keys. The whole
Huh.
coast of Florida. But yeah, so it's really interesting. But so you directed your first movie, and how did that go? How did you like directing it?
It was fine. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a task.
Right. I'm
Um,
sure.
it, it it was a lot of work. I didn't have a crew really, so I was the crew plus a sound guy who also did slate, and he ran or he would set up and run another camera. So I was directing and running camera, doing lights and wardrobe and all of that stuff. So it was really pared down thing, but it was just like kind of like 3 days of 14-hour just go
Oh wow.
to try and get through everything. So I mean, it was intense, really, like I wouldn't necessarily say it was a lot of fun because
Right.
it was just hard, a lot of work. but it was interesting, I learned a lot, and I'd
Mhm.
done a lot of music videos, but that's just a completely different thing, right? Because you don't have to worry
Right.
about recording sound, and it's just a different thing entirely.
Right.
But there are a lot of similarities as far as getting things the way you want them, and costumes, and having
Mhm.
people, depending on what kind of a music video, if there's a plot or if it's just, you know,
Mhm.
singing along to the words. But that I had started shooting more videos that were in a narrative sort of style,
Mhm.
in sort of in preparation to put together stories and start filming some films, I guess, if you will.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure. That's why I always appreciate the movie, even if I don't like the movie, I always just appreciate it because of how much work actually goes into the movies and how many
Yeah,
people work on it and paying the actors and everybody. It's hard.
yeah, yeah, it is, and so many little things go wrong and can go wrong and trying to fix, and so it's a I mean, you've got to really like it or enjoy it or really um,
Mhm.
desire to do it, I think, because if not, whew,
Right.
there's a lot of shit involved.
Right, I'm sure. And I'm sure your family was like, "You're working long hours," and stuff like that, but I'm sure your wife was really good a good sport about it.
Yeah, she was. She's supportive. She was, yeah, she, wanted me to do it. And um, yeah, it's a lot more, I think, before the film, well, and after, because I edited it and did the sound design and all that
Mhm.
stuff too. Sorry, I had a fly or something.
Oh, you're good.
Uh, so, you know, it's a lot of time spent doing all that outside of the
Mhm.
filming. I mean, the filming itself that we did for this particular movie, we managed to shoot it in 3 days. I wrote it in a way that it was pared down, and
Mhm.
I thought we could get through it in 3 days. Um, that's because I didn't really have a track record of shooting films and other than music videos, and so getting people to believe in your vision and so forth, and um, come on board, I think is harder when you don't have a track record of doing it and getting good results or whatever. So I wanted to make it easy enough, quick enough, and short
Mhm.
enough that I could get the actors to dedicate themselves to the time
Mhm.
to do it, without getting paid a bunch of money.
Right. But that's awesome though, and I'm sure they respected you and did your vision what you wanted and stuff, and I'm sure you probably let them be themselves as well, because it's always good when a director lets you be yourself.
Yeah, it was great. They were great. They did a wonderful job. I was extremely impressed with how prepared they were. Even Matt Kenner, he so the original guy that I had cast in it wasn't he he flaked at the last minute, and but we had started to see that maybe something was wrong here. Maybe he wasn't going to actually come through in the end,
I
and
got you.
so we hi Patrick. Um, so we ended up getting another guy as an understudy the week before, and Matt really did a great job. Even only having like 3 or 4 days to look at a 54-page script, um, he he did a
Mhm.
great job. But they all came really prepared. Jenya Delo, she we had to shoot her part of the script, which was 16 pages of some pretty intense dialogue. I flew her in for one day, like flew her in,
Mhm.
and then we shot, and then she flew out the next day. So we had to make sure we got everything of hers because there was no chance, not really much of a chance of a reshoot there, unless we like
Mhm.
re-rented hotel rooms and paid for more plane tickets and all that stuff. So um,
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a race, and they came very prepared. I was very impressed, so that was nice, you know? That's the best I could hope for, right? Is that they showed up and
Right.
actually cared, you know? If you have somebody who shows up and they're just like, "Alright, so what are we doing?" That
Right.
would be bad
I'm
time.
sure. I'm sure. Did you guys film late at night, or did you guys do like a set schedule?
Um, yeah, we filmed till about midnight, I think, roughly. But we got up and started shooting, right away in the morning, early, because we had daylight stuff to shoot and then nighttime
Hmm.
stuff to shoot. So we had to kind of split the movie up, shoot some nighttime stuff one night, some nighttime stuff the next night, and so
Hmm.
forth.
I'm
Um,
sure y'all were jacked up on coffee and stuff.
there was some coffee going around, I think. Yeah, uh, pretty
You know,
sure.
I always say instead
Bit
of
of a
Mountain Dew, I'll
blur.
be jacked up on coffee. That's what
Yeah,
it'll be. Jacked up on coffee instead of Mountain Dew.
yeah.
But that's always nice. So do you like acting more, or do you like being the music producer, or do you like being the director? What do you like more?
That's a good question. I really enjoy doing all three of them, really. Um, I really do like acting. I also enjoy directing a lot because the stuff that I have mostly done or am doing has mostly, not all, some has been some other people's stuff, and I show up and participate. But I really like writing, conceiving idea and writing and creating a story and a vision, and then as a director being able to bring it to life in the way I see it in my head, I guess. So that's really neat to me. But I really do like acting. It's hard to do a lot of acting
Mhm.
and direct and run a camera, obviously, which I
Right.
did, and do lighting. Um, I I don't know. I like acting a lot, but I also like, bringing things to
Mhm.
life. But I've been on a little bit of a kick lately of I shot a couple short films, and
Mhm.
basically as practice for the next movie that I'm shooting this summer,
Mhm.
because I got a bunch of new equipment and I want to like get things talking to each other
Mhm.
and make sure I work out all the little bugs with the new stuff and make sure all the
Right.
chords are right and you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like all the little stuff.
Mhm.
So I've been on this little kick of shooting these short films and pretty much doing everything myself. For the first one,
Mhm.
Douglas Montoya, who is in Sweet Killing Machines, he did the sound for that one, and it's called Vicious Fray. It's kind of a strange little thing that goes through a relationship from start to finish
Mhm.
in a really strange way, and so it was interesting. Like, it was just me, one other actor, and Doug doing sound. So I'm on cameras and lights and costume and set design and everything, and acting like a lead
Mhm.
role in that with another person. So it's been interesting just trying to do everything. The last thing I did this weekend, um, called "Why Did You Scare Her?" Matt Kenner, who is also in that. We I wrote a short little script. It's going to be like a 4-minute short. It's very short, but
Mhm.
it's just a quick little story. And I did everything, sound, lights, and everything. So it's been interesting going
Mhm.
through all that, and getting everything to work together. It feels good to like be able to
Mhm.
do it all myself in a
Right.
way that like I don't know. It feels more secure. Like on a bigger thing when if there's an issue with somebody, or they, I don't know, get sick or get into a car accident, whatever, like I feel like I can still manage to get through this no matter what. So
Right.
it's a nice feeling, I think. But It
No,
sucks in the
I find it really interesting, all that kind of stuff, like behind the scenes stuff. I always like to watch like like when you have a Blu-ray or a DVD or something, I always like to watch the commentary. I'm the weird person that likes to watch that kind of stuff because I find it interesting.
yeah, yeah. I like that stuff too. Um,
Just because you don't know what the person's actual vision wants until like the end of the movie and how they're thinking during the whole process. I find that really interesting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the Hatchet Boys have a question for you. What was your favorite role to act in?
Uh, hmm, hmm. Pro Probably Sweet Killing Machines, because it was just kind of fun and sort of silly, and I got to do an English accent, so that was fun to just play with
Mhm,
that. But I don't know, some other ones have been interesting, that I have enjoyed. Um, Fathoms Deep was kind of more serious, so my character, I don't know, was just kind of a tough guy or
mhm,
whatever, but it wasn't a ton of fun. It was interesting, shooting out in the desert in Lancaster at some of these like some
mhm,
abandoned places and like stuff. Is it just Lancaster is an interesting place because it's sort of like I don't know if I'm gonna say something that's offensive here, but sort of where criminals, I think a lot from the prison there end up living. So it's really desolate and
mhm,
really run down. It was an interesting place to drive through and shoot in. That was
mhm.
kind of fun and strange to see. I'd
Right? I like
never seen
I'm
never seen it before, but
right? I'm the weird one that likes small towns like that because you never know what you're gonna find in those small towns. I'm the weird one that likes
right.
that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
the
I mean it was just extremely strangely like people's yards just full of trash, metal and
mhm,
old machines and stuff, just like like they don't take it any a lot of them don't take it anywhere to dump it. They just like throw it
mhm.
over the fence or whatever.
Right.
So it's like feels like
It
you're in
sounds
an
like
apocalypse.
it sounds like something from like a horror movie or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something. It sounds like something
right?
like that. But
Yeah.
I like those kinda towns. I lived in New York for a year, upstate New York, and the town that I lived in is such a small town, and they have, like, houses from, like, the 1900s and stuff like that, and some of them are, like, abandoned, and it was kinda cool to go in them.
Yeah. Huh.
Mhm.
Bet. We got some
Yeah, and they have, like, a lot of, they had the Battle of Plattsburgh, so that's kind of cool because it is like a history town, if you like history
huh.
type of things, and so a lot of these, places you can see, like, cannons and stuff. It's really interesting to go there.
Is the town called Plattsville or Plattsburgh, you said?
Plattsburgh, New York.
Huh.
It's all the way
Interesting.
upstate, so you're hour away from Montreal, Canada. Hi, Jamie. Welcome in. How you
Huh.
doing, my friend?
Interesting. I've never good morning. Never heard of that place, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
small towns. So,
It's a really small town, like, everybody knows everybody, I mean, like, they do have streetlights and stuff like that, but it's, like, a really small town upstate New York.
hmm.
At that point, I say you might as well be in Canada because you're an hour away from Montreal. Like, the, Walgreens I used to work at, I was at the border of Montreal, so, like, right there on the US border.
Really? Huh.
Mhm.
Did you have a lot of illegal border crossings there?
Yeah. The border patrol would always be on them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Huh.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Jamie's from New York, and she's saying, yeah, there and New York is full of teeny little towns, um, that don't even have stoplights, just four-way stop signals, yeah. So if you ever
Yeah.
get a chance to go, like, up all the way upstate, there's smaller towns up there. They're nice to film in, and a lot of mountain towns, I call them mountain towns because there's a lot of mountains up that way.
Yeah. I've been through a lot of little towns and stuff because, like I said, when I was playing in a band, we would tour a fair amount, and so we drove through a lot of
Mhm.
small places
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I think I remember the interview when you were with Patrick. I think you said that you had like a mohawk or something or some kind of thing, and
Yeah,
actually that picture is actually online
yeah. There's probably a bunch.
because I was like looking through it. I was like, wait, what? Who is this dude? It was funny. But you were in a punk band. Was it a punk band or was it like a rock band?
I don't know. It was just weird. We just made weird music. It was sort of a punk vibe attitude. There was some rapping and singing and I don't know, some punk songs, some waltzes. I don't know. Like it was fucking
Right?
weird.
Maybe more like a grunge band. This kind of sounds like a grunge band, maybe a mixture.
Yeah, I don't know. We just like experimented with a bunch of stuff. There was definitely a fair amount of rapping, some
Hmm.
sort of like rap beats with like metal guitars, but no distortion. And I don't know.
Right.
It was weird. It was weird.
Do you write your own music? Do you like sing any of your own music or write any of it?
Yeah, I definitely write and sing most of the music that I make now, almost all of it. Then I wrote lyrics, helped produce a little bit, but for the most part, our guitar player made most of the music. Like he would sit in the studio and
Mhm.
produce produce the tracks for it or whatever. His name's Jeff Ryan. Give him a shout out. He made the first song at the beginning of um, Sweet Killing Machines when the credits are rolling, I guess.
That's a great song. I listened to it. It's a great song.
Yeah,
I
he made
liked
that
it.
for the movie.
Um,
Yeah, he's very talented, man. Very talented.
do you not what instrument do you play? Do you play any instruments or do you just mostly sing?
I don't play anything very well. I can kind of twinkle around on the guitar a little bit, on the bass, and kind of play on the keys a little bit, but I'm not great. Like I'll
Right.
sit there and noodle around mostly and find something good and then loop it. Or sometimes like when I'm doing
Right.
sound design, I can sit there and I'll just play along to whatever's happening and
Right.
give it the texture and the ambiance that I'm looking for. But I couldn't sit in front of a room and like play some beautiful piece of music or anything.
Right. Well, hey, that sounds kinda like
Fuck it.
John Carpenter, he did that.
Yeah,
If you go back to Halloween 1978, he did stuff like that back then, kinda twinkled with it because he's not really
yeah,
a actual, like, musician or anything, but he kinda twinkled with it, so that
yeah,
kinda reminds me of John Carpenter type of thing.
yeah, yeah. And so just great little melodies or whatever, and put stuff together and loop things and
Mhm,
add some like sit there and play some drums to it or whatever. And
mhm, mhm,
for a little while, I was pulling out like I've got a bunch of like Native American drums, like big
mhm,
drums and snares and just
mhm.
little instruments and like adding stuff like that to it for fun. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really call myself like a
Right,
musician in that sense. You can't stand
right.
on plays on stage and play a song on the guitar, but I can maybe come up with a shitty little riff to loop in there somewhere.
Right. You sound like me, so I can play the piano, but I can't sing, I'm tone deaf. So,
Oh yeah,
I can play the piano, but I can't sing, so there you go.
hmm,
You're kinda like me in a way.
right. Yeah, but
You know,
yeah,
I've been
I made a bunch of songs. I put them together. They sound like music.
right? And
That
no, but
sounds
it's
fun.
good though. I tell people follow your dreams and do what you love. If that's what you love to do, then hey, who cares what other people think of it, as long as it makes you happy at that time. That's what I tell
Yeah,
people all the time.
yeah.
Um, so what is your favorite costume? Do you have a favorite costume that you did or designed or character costume?
Hmm. Um, maybe for a music. This is off the top of my head. There might be something else I don't know, but uh, a music video that I did called uh, Dark Moon Hell Ride. Um, there's a couple of costumes uh, that I made. One for like a Heimdall character and an
Mm-hmm.
Anubis character. Those
Mm-hmm.
those are probably I spent a fair amount of time like cutting and sculpting rubber and like
Mm-hmm.
making making this weird thing and like making a sword. um
Right.
yeah, so it was kind of fun. I was kind of bummed out that there were so few shots of it actually in the video, but just the way I didn't actually run the camera on that video, so
Right.
I didn't get the shots that I wanted of of a couple of those costumes, but you can still
Mm-hmm.
see them in the background, mostly kind of doing their
Right.
thing. But yeah, those are probably my favorite.
The Hatchet Boy says that sounds awesome. I would like to see them. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. It's called Dark Moon Hell Ride. It's a strange little song that I made, wrote, produced, sung, whatever.
Right. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out because I like to watch music videos. I like to see interesting things in musical videos, just to see what
Yeah,
other people have to offer, what their tastes are like. It's really interesting. You know.
I think that video was my first foray in playing around with After Effects, I think.
Hmm.
So it's got some shitty little
Right.
magical effects.
Right.
It was kind of fun. It was
So,
fun.
so how long did you live in LA for when you lived there?
About 8 years. Um, well, so in LA County, I guess, yeah, because I originally moved to Hollywood and lived there in this tiny little closet of a room, and
Hmm.
then lived there for a few years. Don't remember. Ended up moving to North Hollywood and lived there for a few years, and then I moved to Huntington Beach with my wife, and that was
Hmm.
one of the nicest places I've ever lived. It was
Right.
really pretty, really pretty. Um,
Hmm.
right close to the ocean. I like that. That was cool, but really
Right.
expensive. So
I'm
it was
sure
not.
LA's expensive anywhere in Los Angeles, California, anywhere. I'm sure it's expensive. It's probably more
Yeah,
expensive than Florida right now.
yeah. I
In
don't
Florida,
know.
and I say Florida's expensive to move into. So, But
I
I've
bet
always wanted to go see LA because I've always wanted to go see like the different places and stuff. I'm sure it's beautiful out there though.
beaches aren't as nice as Florida.
Right.
Florida has a lot nicer beaches, I think, but
Right.
I
Did you
like
meet
LA.
any when you lived in LA, did you meet any celebrities that you wanted to meet or anything like that? Did you get a chance to meet any of them?
I met a lot of celebrities. I don't know if I wanted to meet them or not, but um, uh, I think kind of one of the coolest ones where I wish I hadn't been so drunk when I showed up to the party
Right.
because then I didn't really want to like make an ass of myself. But Oliver Stone was sitting there and like Heather Graham and Moby was
Oh,
like tuning his guitar, standing next to me and in this doorway in the kitchen, and so there were a bunch of famous people at this little house party. It was just like a little, probably maybe 2 bedroom house or something, and they were just all like hanging out. That was a kind of a surreal situation, but I was already
mhm.
pretty drunk, so I didn't really want to go talk to anybody and make an ass of myself.
Right.
Kind
Well,
of
that would have
bummed
been
about it.
cool to see Oliver Stone, though.
I
I don't
know,
know what I
right?
would do. I don't know what I
I
would
like,
do if I see him. You know what I'm saying?
right?
Like, I think I'd probably fangirl.
Yeah, I to this day still go like, man, I wish I would have talked to him.
Right. Even
Yeah,
Moby, I would be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like those are like some famous people. I'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like now when I
yeah,
see famous people, I mean, like I do fangirl inside, but I also act like my normal self because I'm sure they see a lot of fans and they're like, "Why are you acting like that?" You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't wanna be that guy, right? It's like, "Oh my god," right? Like,
Right.
because I
Mhm.
know they get it a lot, and it's probably super fucking annoying most of the time, so I was just
Jamie
like,
saying,
"Oh, shit." I'm just like, "Oh,
right.
shit, that is Oliver Stone sitting at that table." Yeah, it was
Right.
kinda weird,
Jamie
but
saying Heather Graham was one of her favorite TV shows of all times, Twin Peaks, and wanted to meet David Lynch if she went to LA.
yeah, I would like to meet David Lynch too. I like his stuff.
I do
Seems
too.
yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites. I
Mhm.
like I like his stuff.
So,
Oliver Stone too. I like what he's done, a lot of what he's done.
me too. The most director that I would wanna meet would be Martin Scorsese. I wanna pick his brain.
Yeah, I do like his stuff. I like his movies. In particularly, I really like the people that he has do lighting for his movies. I sort of like
Mhm,
strive for that kind of lighting for
mhm.
most of the scenes, not everything in his movies, but a lot of them I really love how they get lit. I think they look beautiful. So it's
Yeah, they do.
definitely um, an influence, I suppose, for me trying to make
Right.
make movies. I end up doing a lot of lighting for stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so
So do you
yeah,
have some directors that influences you besides Martin Scorsese? Or
yeah, I think um, no, yes, I definitely like David Lynch, and man, I always get asked this question and then I forget.
it's
On
all good.
the spot, I forget. Martin Scorsese, uh, to a degree. Um, Quentin Tarantino, obviously, everybody
Mhm,
likes him. He's an interesting. The Coen brothers, um, Sorkin, I think,
mhm.
is a interesting, interesting critter. Um, yeah, I'd have to Google it again. I like
Mhm.
with I'm blanking. I wasn't thinking of
No,
it
you're
before.
good. I'm putting him on the
Uh,
spot, so it's good. Blue
yeah,
Velvet's a good movie. I like that one too.
yeah, I love that movie. The movie is
Mhm.
awesome.
It is.
Right.
I think when Blue Velvet came out, I think I was don't think I seen it in a movie theater, or I think I seen it on Amazon or something. I don't even when did that movie come out? I don't even know when that movie came out. Um, but it was good. I liked how it was shot and everything, like, and
I
who
like Tim
directed
Burton a
it.
lot.
Yeah, Tim Burton. I
Big
love
fan of
Tim Burton.
Joel Cohen. I'm a
Mhm,
big fan of his work. Um, I like Wes Anderson, uh, sort of. I like
yeah,
parts of Wes Anderson. I find
mhm,
I find the stuff he does to be very interesting. I don't love it all, but I
right,
do enjoy uh,
mhm,
some of his
yeah.
creative.
Yeah, that was the year I was born, so, yeah, I saw it on Amazon. I was born in '86, so I saw it on Amazon. That's okay, though. I like a lot of older movies too. I guess I'm old soul. Do you like a lot of '80s movies or '90s movies or the newer ones? What do you like?
Uh, I like, I like movies from all different kinds of eras, but um, thinking of names off the top of my head is uh, I guess one that comes to the top of my head is Evil Dead.
Oh
I
yeah.
really like that one. That's a fun one that I go back to frequently. Clockwork Orange was a very interesting
The
movie.
the book's very interesting too.
Yeah. Um, Trying to think of old movies that see, there's some old movies that I remember watching but haven't rewatched them. I thought they were interesting, like Critters. It's
Oh yeah,
kind of
I like critters.
yeah. I think that came up when I was talking with Patrick again too.
Yeah, critters. Yeah, it did
Somebody,
because I remember it was in the
yeah,
chat.
yeah, somebody asked about what my favorite horror movie was.
Right. Is
Um,
that your favorite genre, or do you like comedies, or do you like dramedies, or do you like romance?
I don't know. Uh, I like most genres. Not a big fan of musicals a lot of times because
Right.
I often don't like the musical choices. Once in a while, I do find a musical. Tim Burton, for example, I think makes interesting musicals sometimes.
Like Sweeney
Um,
Todd, that was a good one.
yeah, I think the music he chooses I can identify with a little bit more than say Frozen or something. I don't
Right.
know that.
But I'm sure you watched that because of your kids.
Yeah,
Frozen.
more than once.
You know,
Um,
I'm sure Let It Go annoyed you playing that all the time.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Trying to
do
think
you
of
watch movies with your family? Do you guys watch movies together?
yeah, yes, but they usually end up, well, at this point, they've been kids' movies for the most part.
Hmm.
It's my kids are 8 and 10 now, so they're getting to the point where I can watch some movies that aren't totally kids' movies. We went and saw like Avatar, and
Hmm.
they watched the new Ghostbusters movie with me, and they liked that. But prior to that, it was mostly just animated kids' movies, you know.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Yeah, Danny Elfman. Yeah, he's the shit.
I love Danny Elfman. If I got to meet him, I would love to meet him one day.
Yeah, I like finally saw a picture of him, in the last few years, and I was like, oh shit, that guy looks nothing like I would have expected him to look.
Right? He's just a he looks like a plain normal person. That's what I say, Danny
Yeah, but he's
Elfman.
like swole, like
Hmm. Yeah.
works out every day, and like he's cut.
Hmm.
I was like surprised. I just didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I'd never really
Danny
looked him up.
Elfman is a very underrated composer. He's very underrated. I mean, like a
Yeah,
lot of people do use him, but he's very underrated. I love composers, um, music composers. I guess that's what they're called, music composers. I love them.
yeah.
Do you have any favorites? Hey, Lynette, do you have any favorite composers that you like?
Well, Danny Elfman is definitely in the top, and then Trent Reznor can be interesting sometimes. Again, I don't know off the top of my head names,
Right. Well,
but I
everybody
think
knows who John Williams is because he did Jurassic
yeah,
Park, and Star Wars, and
yeah,
stuff like that.
it's. I mean, it's fine. I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's fine. He's good at what he does. It's not. It's like it works for what it is. It doesn't stand out to me, I guess. I mean, kind of know it's
Mhm.
him, sort of, but I don't
Right.
know. It's just there to me. I don't go like, ooh, I don't
I
know.
didn't know Danny Elfman was in a band.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Hmm.
interesting. Something I did not know about him. It's interesting when you find out stuff about people. It's interesting.
Yeah,
That's why I like interviewing people and just knowing about them a little bit, you know? It's interesting.
right.
You find interesting stuff. I find new stuff every day about people that I didn't know, you know.
Right.
So do you have any projects that you're working on now? Are you gonna do another full length movie? Or
Yeah. Um, like I said earlier, I just shot that short this weekend. So as soon as this is over, I'm heading into the editing bay to start coloring it. I cut it all up yesterday and
Hmm.
Probably submit it to a few film festivals or whatever. It's kind of a weird little thing.
Right.
Um, uh, and yeah, and like I said, I did a couple shorts in the last month to practice with some gear because I'm shooting a full length feature again. The first shoot date is actually May 25th. We're doing one
Hmm.
scene then, but then the bulk of it shoots the last week of July and the first week of August. So
Hmm.
it's going to be a much bigger ordeal than I have previously
Right.
done. I think the Dark Moon video is probably the biggest, like the most amount of people I had worked with as far
Hmm.
as directing a thing or whatever. This
Hmm.
is going to have about the same amount of people for the bulk of it. We're
Hmm.
most of the film takes place in an RV and a cabin, and at a
Hmm.
cabin, and then there's other scenes on the way
Hmm.
um, throughout the movie or whatever. But I'm sort of doing a I'm sort of doing a twist on some ideas, but yeah, it'll be an interesting experience. Have a bunch of actors flying in from actually all over. Uh, Charlie Mack, he's a comedian. He's going to be flying in from Austin, Texas. Jason Rouse, he's a pretty big comedian who's going to be flying in from Austin, Texas. We got
Hmm.
somebody coming in from Chicago. Um, a few people from Milwaukee. Probably someone. There's still two roles that I'm casting. Probably someone from Minnesota. I think I've got
Hmm.
three actors coming from LA, um, three or four from Des Moines, Iowa. So it's going to
Right.
be interesting putting a bunch of, and then there's a number of actors that are either from the Madison, kind of Milwaukee or smaller towns around here that
Mhm.
are in the movie as well.
That's
But
awesome. I can't wait to
yeah,
see it when you release it. I can't wait to watch it. Um,
yeah, me too.
Lynette's asking, do you know who Jerry Goldsmith is?
Uh, it's not ringing a bell. Let me look him up real quick and see if
I know there's so many people. There's so many people that work
American
in the show
composer.
business.
Um, yeah, no, I don't really know him as far as, I mean, I'm sure I've seen his work or, seen him in stuff, but I don't, never, never heard his name really.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't know who that person is either. But
Oh,
that's what I like about indie films is you find people that you've never heard of, and it's very
yeah.
interesting to know what they talk about and stuff. He's the composer of The Omen.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Huh,
Mhm.
interesting. I'll have to pay, he's a pretty old guy now.
Right.
I'll have to pay closer attention.
Mhm. So it's interesting though that you get actors and actresses and stuff like that you don't never heard of. That Hatchet Boy said any upcoming projects other than the movie, anything else that you're working
Yeah,
on?
I just finished a short, which you can watch on YouTube called Vicious Fray. And then I'm finishing a short, which is going to be called Why Did You Scare Her? It's just a real short thing.
Mhm.
And then I'm working on a full length movie, which is the shorts are sort of part of my process for shooting the full length movie and working out some kinks and testing some equipment and stuff and trying to figure out what redundancies I need for problems that occur and stuff like that. But the movie that I'm shooting this summer is called Sanguine Teeth on a Driftless Road.
Mhm.
You can look at it. I mean, you can look and see who's in it on IMDb. I don't have a lot of stuff about it online yet. I'm sort of just keeping
Right.
it to myself at this point, um, other than the name and who's in it.
Right. No, that's that's totally fine. You have to keep some stuff to yourself, because then once everybody knows about it, they're gonna be like, "When is it coming out?" and ask you 20 million questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of keeping keeping the premise and all that stuff to me. I mean, vaguely, I guess it's about four vampires on a road trip, but
Mm,
yeah. So it's a comedy with a little bit of a horror twist, I
mm.
guess.
That
So
that sounds like my cup of tea. I like that those type of
yeah.
those type of movies, because they're a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me of like that, like it kind of reminds me of like Scary Movie when that came out, off of a parody off of Scream. So it kind of reminds me of something like that, maybe.
Kind of a dark comedy. Um I I decided at least I mean I like comedy a lot, it's fun and my mom really likes comedy a lot, so I figured while she's still alive, I'll make a few comedies for her. So,
Right.
like,
I love comedies too. Like if I come home from like a bad day, I'll watch a comedy just because I don't want to watch anything like too serious sometimes.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I like a
So
lot
I
of different I like a lot of different kinds of stuff, so kind of mesh things together, but
mhm.
I'm usually a pretty silly person. I like joking around and making
Me
shitty
too.
jokes or whatever. So
Me too.
why not? Why
Me
not?
too. Most of the time I just keep them all inside, but I'll have to send you some of my funny jokes. You'll probably laugh. Like for the longest time, you remember in the 90s when people, or the early 2000s when people used to say your mama jokes? I used to think it was people are like, "Oh my gosh." They were like palm facing, because I used to say Joe mama jokes, and they're like, "No, it's your mama jokes." And I was like, "Oh, oops." It's so funny. They're like, "What? You're prejudiced against Joe?" And I said, "No, I thought that was the joke." It was funny.
Joe Mama.
Yeah, that's so funny. So I used to come up with a whole bunch of jokes like that, and people actually started laughing at them. But I mean, like they're just silly, like little kid jokes, because I was a teenager at that point, and it's like nothing
Right.
too bad.
Yeah.
Do you tell a lot of dad jokes? Do you tell a lot of dad jokes? Like people say dad jokes?
Oh, dad jokes? Probably. Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my
Probably.
fiance does too. And then he goes, "How come you're not laughing at my joke?" And I'm like, "It's not funny."
Right.
Um, they're talking about Near Dark. Have you seen that one? It's a vampire movie.
I don't think I have. I'm gonna Google it. I may watch it though. Dark. Oh, 1987. Interesting. No, I have not seen it. Or have I?
I haven't seen it either, so I'll have to check that out.
Hmm. It's a horror western. No, I don't think I did.
I don't like westerns. That's the only genre I will not watch.
Oh, really?
Pat,
I
yeah,
don't mind. I don't mind them if they're written well. Well, that looks like a
Patrick
good. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Patrick gets mad at me. He's like, "I'm mad at you," and I said, "Why?" He texted me and he goes, "I heard you don't like westerns," so he's mad at me because of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, Lisa Frankenstein, that was really good. That's on Amazon
Okay.
Video Prime right now. That was really good.
So,
It's a
Frankenstein.
it's a take on Frankenstein as a girl.
Okay. No, I haven't
Mhm.
seen it yet, but I will check it out. Huh.
Yeah, they're
Appreciate
saying
the
definitely watch
recommendation.
Near Dark. It's really a good one. Um, so let's see what else. So you lived in several different places. So now are you like set on where you're living now and just doing movies in the town that you live in? Or are you gonna venture out eventually and do it like somewhere else?
That's an extremely good question. One that I don't know if I could ever actually answer that until the time comes, but I would say I'll probably live here. I would say 10 years is safe because my kids won't be out of high school until then, and so
Mhm.
I'd kind of like to let them go to school in the same place. Um,
Right.
they, I really do like LA. I would love to mm, at least visit there more often. My wife doesn't really like the desert that much, so
Right.
um, yeah, and my family just got dual citizenship to Luxembourg.
Mhm.
So I imagine at some point we'll probably go there for a little bit.
Mhm. Right.
I don't know that I'd want to live there for a long time, but
Right.
we were definitely talking about it the other day because I have lived in a bunch of different places all
Mhm.
over, and every time I go somewhere new or whatever, I live there for a little while. I start to make some friends, and then I move, and then so
Right.
like I've got friends kind of strung out all over the
All over the
country, and
place.
yeah, and I'm trying to build something right with the film thing, and
Mhm.
like making friends with actors
Mhm.
and all of that. So it would suck to like build these relationships and have some good working relationships and then move somewhere else. But you never know, right? Like anything could
Right.
happen. So,
Hey, you could get famous one day, and I'll be like, "Don't forget small people." You know?
yeah, yeah, sure,
I'll be like, "I know that person." That's what I tell
right?
people.
Um,
I talk to a lot of different people in the indie film industry, and I'm like, don't forget, I helped you along the way a little bit,
yeah,
just playing,
you can
but
always you can always message for an interview.
right,
I
but
do really
but
appreciate
it's
you having me, by the
yeah,
way.
no problem. But I tell people if you get too famous, then I might have to go through your publisher or your publicist or whatever, you know. Then I
Yeah.
might have to pay money for you. That's okay. I
But
definitely enjoyed the movie. They're talking about Near Dark, and she's saying it's only on DVD.
ah,
It's not on
gotcha.
streaming services. I'm sure you could
Okay,
maybe get it on Amazon Prime, maybe, but you probably have to
okay,
pay like $24 for something like that.
gotcha.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on and talking and hanging out and having a good time. And I do have Austin's links. I have his IDBM in there and his Instagram. If you guys want to talk to him on Instagram, you guys can. And then I will link his YouTube if you guys want to check that out so you can see his next stuff coming out. I can link that as well. And I hope everybody has a great Wednesday and a great rest of the week. And thank you so much for coming on, Austin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it
Bye,
as
everybody.
well.